Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. In this video, we will be talking about one of the marketing models, that is gap model of service quality. This has clearly been mentioned in your paper 2 syllabus, and the question has also been asked from this model in 2019 December. This model helps the service providers to have an idea about the customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is all about their perceptions. If the customer perceives that the service provided to them meets their needs and their expectations, then they will be happy. They will be satisfied. If they are dissatisfied, it is because of the following gaps. These gaps are: gap number 1 is knowledge gap. The knowledge gap is the difference between the customer's expectation of the service and the company's idea about the service. This gap arises when the management does not know what the customer expects. The reasons behind that may be lack of interaction, insufficient market research, lack of proper relationship building, not paying attention to the customer complaints. So the gap arises when the customer wants or desires something different, but the company does not have a fair idea about that. Gap number 2 is the policy gap. The policy gap is the difference between the management's understanding of the customer's needs and translating of that understanding into the service delivery policies and standards. So the management does understand what the customer wants, what the customer expects, but they fail to update their service standards according to that, according to their desires. So this may happen due to lack of customer service standards, poorly defined service levels, failure to update the service standards regularly. Gap 3. The gap 3 is about the service delivery gap or the performance gap. This is the difference between service delivery policy and standard and the actual delivery of the service. So the company may define the policies and the standards but fail to actually deliver the services according to that standard. This happens due to the lack of proper human resource policy, failure to match the supply with the demand, employees' lack of knowledge of the product, lack of cohesive teamwork. Gap 4. Gap 4 is about communication gap. This gap arises when there is a difference between what is promised through the advertising and what is actually delivered. So you promised something different, and when the service is actually delivered, it becomes something different. Reasons may be over promising, insufficient communication between the operation team and the advertising team. The operation management team uh, could not communicate what their products are going to deliver to the customer to the advertising team, and the advertising team failed to define the services to the customer. Gap 5. Gap 5 is about customer gap. Gap between what the customer's expectation was from the service and how he perceives the service to be after receiving it. So they expected something to be the services, and gap 5. Gap 5 is the customer gap. This gap is between what the customer's expectation was from the service and how he perceives the service to be after receiving it. So they expected something from the service, and after receiving it, they are perceiving it to be something different. This may happen because the customer could not understand the service properly or misinterpreted the service quality. So customer gap is within the customer himself. All other four gaps that were discussed before, those are from the company's side. But this gap 5 is all about the customer within customer himself. So the company cannot do anything about it. This is all about customer psychology. The question in 2019 December that was asked was, according to the gap model of service quality, which of the followings are correct? Gap 1 is about management perception, Gap 2 is about service quality specification, Gap 3 is about service delivery, Gap 4 is about marketing communication. You had to choose two options, and this would be Gap 3 and Gap 4. Answer C and D. I'm ending my video here. If you find this helpful, then please share And also let me know in the comment section below if you want to know about any topic related to tourism. Thank you so much.